So this is the Eon system. The Eon III system, to be exact. It's a Swedish system that has not been translated before to English. So let's take a look at the character sheets. So we have different tabs up here to organize different things. So we have attributes in summary, special, health columns, derived values, the base damage, which is either based on strength or agility, depending on if it's blunt, slashing, or piercing, movement speed, and your personality traits, which kind of guides roleplay and some game mechanics to see how loyal you are and stuff like that. They mostly serve as inspiration for me, but some GMs might be using them more. Hometown in general. We have hometown, we have homeland, religion, etc., etc. Let's take a look at how the skill system works in this system. So let's take for example, let's say that I am pretty good at climbing. I'm not the best in the world, but I'm pretty good. Then we have a value. So the higher this value is, the better I am at it. So if I'm attempting to climb something, I might ask the game master, hey, I would like to climb this wall. How difficult would it be? And the game master would say, well, it's fairly easy, but because it is raining, it is average difficulty. Okay, makes sense. And then I click it and I select average. So there are no weird values to go for, but rather easy, very easy, etc., etc. And now we can see that I rolled a total of 10. It has an exploding die system, so any 6 that are rolled is replaced by 2 new dice. So in this case, I got 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 for a total of 10. So the 6 is replaced by 2 new dice. It does not count. So if I'm trying to do something more difficult, let's say I'm trying to climb a rather sheer and very smooth wall, which might be extremely difficult to climb, few handholds, etc. Then we roll more dice, which means that the odds of success decrease substantially. This is also modified by how much in pain I am and how exhausted I am. So let's say I've taken 15 points of pain and 30 points of exhaustion. Now we can see that I have begun on this row and I have begun on this row. So my skills now will be substantially harder to accomplish because I am really, really tired and I am in a lot of pain. So now when I'm trying to climb, even if it's a fairly easy climb, because of my pain and my exhaustion, I will probably not succeed. So 2d6s would be the normal for something that is easy, but because I am in pain and I am exhausted, I rolled 4 more d6s for a total of 6. And in this case, I failed. Despite rolling quite well, I still failed. Let's move on to how the combat system works. So there are no ordinary hit points in the system, but rather health is divided into these types of these columns. So trauma indicates how injured you are. Pain indicates how much in pain you are. You can take a lot of pain but not suffer a lot of trauma. For example, if you stub your toe, or if someone hits you in the groin, that might cause a lot of pain, but it might not cause any substantial amount of trauma. While some trauma can be quite severe, but it might not cause a lot of pain, etc., etc. Equipment system. Armor protects individual armor body parts. So there is no AC. It doesn't become harder to hit someone who is armored, but rather it protects it like damage resistance. So it subtracts whatever it is. So let's equip an armor piece, and we will see how armor works. So let's say I equip now a long scale shirt, and I need to equip it to my body to put it on, which makes sense in my book. And now when we took a look at equipment, we can see that my body, some body parts are protected by the long scale shirt. Not all of it. My hands are unprotected. My thighs are unprotected. My knees are unprotected. My feet are unprotected. My face is unprotected, but my shoulders are quite well protected. My arms are quite well protected. So it protects quite decently against blunt, very well against slashing, but rather not as good against piercing damage. And let's also equip a weapon. So let's go here and we will equip a weapon. And we put it in our hands to equip it. And now we can see that I have this. So we can roll damage. Let's say I want to do a slashing attack with my steel longsword. I can also do like a pummel strike or stab with it. But let's do slashing. That's quite a lot of damage. 23 points. Because again, these explode. So this one was replaced with 2 new dice. This one was replaced with 2 new dice. And this one was replaced. Blah, blah, blah. So it becomes more dice in total. That one became those 2, that one became those 2, and that one became those 2. That's a lot of dice. That's a lot of damage. And let's say I hit the neck. Slashing 23 damage value for the neck. Okay. For some reason it bugs out and does it double. I need to update the code for the last Foundry edition. There is a risk of amputation because I hit neck. And I take a lot of trauma because I hit the throat. So trauma, pain, bleed. So trauma, 23, pain, and now I'm up 26. Exhaustion doesn't affect it. I took some bleed damage. So every round now I'll take 2 points of blood loss. And we can see that I am quite injured now. I need to succeed on a roll against strength. Otherwise, I will die because they will chop off my head. But it's an easy roll, so I should be fine. Yeah, easy. I get to keep my head, but I am very injured and I'm bleeding profusely from my throat injury. And there's a risk that I drop the items because of the trauma. So the system is quite dangerous. Combat can be quite deadly. An unlucky strike, especially against unprotected body parts, can be very lethal. A sword to the neck is not something you want to experience. Armor, however, is awesome. So this value here subtracts from the 23 we rolled. So 10 minus 23. So if I were to hit the chest instead, it would not be 23. it would be 23 minus 10 equals 13. And that is substantially less. And then we take a lot less damage. So all of that stuff is automated more or less. And now you can see, do I stay conscious? So 66, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see. I fall unconscious. Do I die? That's also a good question. Okay, so I don't die, but I do fall unconscious because of my injury. So that's kind of how the combat system works, or how the damage and health system works. Injuries, pain, exhaustion contribute to making stuff hard to do. So it can snowball because when you become injured, it becomes harder to fight, and then you take more injuries, and then you die. Clothes and armor is divided by 2 when it comes to weight, and other items are just added. So there's an encumbrance system. So we can carry, let's just add a little bit. Come on. Let's just add some armor, and we will become over encumbered. And that carries various penalties. So once you are carrying a lot of stuff, it also becomes harder to move around. The magic system is quite interesting. So we have these skills and we have these skills. Let's take a look at how magic works in this system. So magic, it's a rather hard magic system. So you need to pull the energy from an appropriate source. For example, heat energy, thermotropy, is pulled from stuff that is warmer than the surrounding. Your body is, for example, warmer than the surrounding area, so you can pull your own heat to power thermotropic spells. Scototropy, the energy of darkness, you need to have something really dark to pull the energy of darkness from that area. Psychotropy, the energy of souls, and you can pull your soul energy, and that makes you exhausted. Necrotropy, the energy of decay and death. You could pull it from corpses, for example. Cryotropy, the energy of cold. Biotropy, the energy of living matter. Taxotropy, the energy of chaos, of entropy. And that suffuses everything because entropy exists everywhere. The same with time. Chronotropy exists everywhere because time exists everywhere. So let's take a look at a pyrotropic spell. This is a pretty usual fireball. It takes 2 rounds to cast. You can reduce this by increasing the difficulty. So you need to succeed on these rolls over a period of 2 rounds, unless you do it faster. And if you do, it takes effect. Scototropy. Scototropic blinding. You generate it, you cast the invocation, it takes 1 round to cast, range 30 minutes, makes it 2 levels more difficult for the victim to use any perception skills, including combat skills. So that means that if you're going to use your axe to fight, it will go from average, for example, to very difficult. So 1-2 levels harder. And that's a really, really severe debuff. So this is a great spell. Biotropy have different other spells, like this one, classic Ekivicus Magnificent Monolith. Yeah, they have a lot of weird spells. Let's create a character. So you can select your gender. Then you can go through here. And we can select different races. So we have ordinary humans. We have elves by tribe. We have dwarves by clan. We have Mislur. And we have T-Rex, which are... There are no orcs in the system, but these are kind of like hobgoblins, kind of like half-orcs. And they are divided by their clan. So the Monarch T-Rex, so this is the hobgoblin type, the T-Rex, the Gird, or the Truck. And then we have the first one, that's the clan. So we have Monarch T-Rex, that's of the clan Monarch, and the race is T-Rex. We can have Monarch Gird, that's the clan Monarch, and the race Gird, Monarch Truck. And these have different attributes. Let's go with ordinary human. And the journal is updated as we're creating our character. We might be from a civilized rural. And our hometown is... let's just call this York. Name, yes, family table. As you're creating your character, you get to roll on different tables, and these can give your character flavor, and they can also give you advantages or disadvantages. So you pick these, and they always makes it so that you can generate a unique and interesting character. So let's say this is a peculiar family. He's the son of a warrior. He is quite artistic. Maybe he has some books. Maybe he's strong in arm, extraordinarily concentration. We can see that all this updates. So he had an extraordinary education as his kid. He inherited a low-ranking noble title. He has a thirst for knowledge. So we can... and then we get to select our background professions. So this is a classless system. So anyone can learn anything. However, as you're creating your character, you get to pick 3 prior professions. Stuff that your character got to do when they left home. Maybe they started their... when they left home, they were a cattle herder, or they became a merchant, or a surgeon, or a street beggar, or they started become a mage. Maybe they were in a primitive society and became hunting on the tundra. Maybe they were a brothel worker. Maybe they were a bandit, etc., etc. And this gives your character certain background skills, and etc., etc. And you got to pick 3 of these, so you can like flavor your character towards what you think is interesting. And they don't have to be the same. You can pick different ones. So maybe he was a lumberjack, and then for some reason he left the lumberjack profession to become a bounty hunter, and then you can make up a backstory. Why did he become a bounty hunter after he was an ordinary lumberjack? Maybe someone wronged him, etc., etc. So you can create an interesting backstory from your profession and work with your GM to weave a interesting backstory that you can tie into the overall campaign. Okay, so yeah, and then you can have a mount, ordinary stuff. Well, let me know if there are any questions about this system. I would be happy to help. And yeah, thank you for your time. See you later.